Hello, this is Fred Rowe from Sarah Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been teaching, guiding, writing, and lecturing on fly fishing since 1982. Well, let's get to this week's fly fishing report for September 5th through the 11th. Okay, what's going on in the Eastern Sears after Labor Day weekend? Well, let's start with the Upper Owens River. Trico hatch in the morning. Use a size 20 trico female parachute. Why female? Because male and female tricos are different colors. Females are green body with a black thorax, so you start with that. When they quit hitting that fly, switch to what? A trico parachute, trico spinner pattern. And that one is all black. And then when that's over, figure out what they want next, which has been elk hair caddis, because there's been caddis floating around in the afternoon. Depends on how bad the wind blows, how good you can do on the surface after that. We haven't really seen any big fish up into the river yet, but I am fishing my bigger flies, my size 12 stoner nymph and my size 12 green gold wire prince nymph, kind of in the deep holes, deep runs, cut banks, looking for some of those big fish. There's a few around, but we're not seeing any kind of migrating in, more what we call resident fish in there. Okay, let's head over to Hot Creek. Hot Creek. Well, canyon's not getting much pressure compared to the interpretive side, and I happen to like the canyon better because I kind of cut my teeth on there. I can fish them both, but the canyon this time of the year doesn't have as much pressure because why? Nobody wants to fish with all the weed beds, but I know how to do that. It's one of the things we teach when we guide. So what do? You gotta fish dry flies and get them in those tiny little slots in between the weeds and get a drift. Sometimes it means you get a 3-inch drift. Sometimes you can get a 4-inch drift. And then if you want a nymph, look for the open areas. There's shallows that are open, there's deep holes that are open. Work those areas, there's a lot of fish in there to be caught. So if I'm nymphing, what am I using in there? Well, I'm using midges in tiger and zebra coloration. And then I'm using what we call betas imitations. What are those? Well, those are size 18 beta flashback pheasant tails, size 18 olive quildagons, and yeah, we've been using some size 20 olive SOS nymphs in there. And then for the tricos on the surface, like I said, use your parachutes, use your spinners. Okay, where to next? Let's head over to Crawley Lake. Man, it's fishing good. You just got to know where to go. It was Crooked Creek, now it's the North Arm, and better yet, it's been over in McGee Bay. And what are you doing in there? Well, fish off the bottom. The water's shallow up tight on McGee Bay, particularly where McGee Creek comes in. So they're fishing 7 to 15 feet of water in there. And what are they fishing with? Well, they're fishing with tiger midges, zebra midges, blood midges, albino barons. And then as the midges progress off the bottom, the fish come up looking for them. Well, they get air bubbles underneath their exoskeleton, so it turns them kind of a metalish looking color. So switch to something like Chan's patterns, which are the frostbite, which has the metallic in it. Use them in the same colorations that we use, but it imitates that little gas bubble. Use it from like 9 to 11. Okay, where to next? Let's go down to Bishop Creek Canal. Yeah, look for the trico hatch in the morning. I've been out a couple times looking for it. I haven't found it, but I haven't got out early enough to be sure it's not there. But this time of the year, it's always out there and it's good. I just don't think I'm getting out to the water early enough. What does early enough mean? Yeah, you gotta be in the water between 8 and 9:30. It's short-lived. But if you can find it and you can fish it, size 20, trico female parachute, size 20, trico spinner. For the canal, I find they don't really take the parachute as well as they take the spinner. So once you see them feeding on the surface, switch to a spinner and you'll do real well there. So where are we going to wrap this up? Well, let's head up the hill to Bishop Creek Canal. Bishop Creek Canal. Bishop Creek Canyon. Specifically, let's talk about Weir Pond. Man, I love fishing there. And fall colors are coming. Favorite time of the year to fish there. The browns and the brook trout, they'll be spawning, so that's where I'm heading. Yeah, it's a little early to get into those guys in the fall colors, but I still start going up there. I try to get up there at least once a week. So what do I like fishing in there? Well, I like fishing what we call a dry and a dropper. Dry fly on the surface, Adam's parachute, elk hair caddis, royal wolf, size 16. Oh yeah, and stimulators in size 16. Then for the nymphs, I like using Prince nymphs in a size 16. I like using gold rib hares here. I like the beadhead flashback version in 16, and size 18 beadhead flashback pheasant tails. Well, this has been Fred Rowe from Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service, bringing you this week's fly fishing report for September 5th through the 11th. Remember to join us every Tuesday at Mahogany Smoke Meats. Remember, if you can't be there in person, well, you can always phone into the radio station between 8 and 8:30 when I'm live on the radio station with your questions, or email them to us. And then we can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and my favorite, lpptv.us.